Recorder, call the roll, please.
Councilman Ott.
Here.
Councilman Bishop.
Here.
Councilman Herschel.
Here.
Councilman Henry.
Here.
Mayor Junkins.
Here.
Councilman Sassine.
Here.
Recorder Sassine. Here. Councilman Snyder.
Here.
Councilman Wojcik.
Here.
Okay, everybody has had a chance, I hope, to read our minutes of our previous meeting, the August 17, 2020 meeting. Is there any corrections or additions? And if there be none, I would entertain a motion that we accept the minutes of August 17, 2020 as presented.
So moved. Second.
Okay, the motion's been made. Any questions on the motion? If there be no questions, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Thank you. Back to you, Matt.
Our next council meeting will be held Monday, September 21st, 2020 at 8 p.m. here at the village office. This evening, everyone's noticed, we're being accompanied by Devin Sleet. She is the owner of Be Still Photography. She will be filming our meeting tonight and then uploading it online. It will then be posted to the village's Facebook page later this week for residents to view at their at their convenience. Third, I placed a copy at everyone's seating position of the third quarter 2020 financial statement. Please have this filled out in full and returned to me by no later than October 7th, 2020. That's all I have this evening, Mayor.
Thank you, Matt. Next, there's no accountant's report this meeting. That will be done next meeting. Next, I'd like to move into the mayor's report. On July 30, 2020, 3 of our police officers, Bill Nolan, Rusty Jewell, and Russ Fair, attended a training session, CPR, first aid, and some other materials, at the Bethlehem Fire Department, Inc., which was presented by Fire Chief Jacob Howard, especially for our department. This session was requested by our officers and will make them better first responders because they might be on the scene before the fire department personnel. Our police officers have been directed to concentrate on the following areas: Ridgecrest Road, Chapel Road, Bethlehem Boulevard, east and west, and I-470 at nighttime. The sale of surplus equipment was completed. A1 Auto Parks out in Sherrard, he picked up all the flagpole ornaments out there. He actually got the last cruiser today. And then Frank Biega, he picked up the welder that he purchased. So those are all our used equipment's gone for now. I'm still working on the cruiser situation. That is a good used one, and the specifications for a new one. Also, we need to explore applying for a grant for a cruiser. The fire department has engaged Edgeco Incorporated, the contractor, to demolish the Hammond property and remove the trees starting any time now. Testing of the soil in adjacent area has been received as negative. There wasn't any asbestos and all the things that they might find. Also, an architect will start drawing up plans, and also they must adhere to certain rules and regulations of the West Virginia State Fire Marshal's Office, and these plans must be approved by them once they're completed. The Poplar Lane water line replacement project is finally completed after some unexpected problems occurred. There was a broken valve on the old 2-inch line which broke, and we had to remove that in its entirety. Last week, weather permitting, the asphalt was placed into the trenches where the water line was placed into the ground. The new project on Poplar Lane is proposed upgrading of the storm sewer lines and catch basins. The property at 38 Ridgecrest Road was completed with the demolition as scheduled this past week. The property has a snow fence set up so that you don't go too far over the hill, and also the property is for sale. Cosine Construction has been doing some cosmetic work on both bridges with Spruce Street open to two-lane traffic and Chapel Road Bridge closed for more construction. In lieu of the state's signage that on Chapel Road Bridge, Chapel Road residents' driveways causing problems and complaints from the people that live up there. It seemed like we had signs up there, but people didn't read the signs. In fact, when people were turning around, somebody turned around and they backed into the Bethlehem Presbyterian Church's entrance road. They ran over several posts and bent their sign. Some people, well, drivers just don't care anymore, I guess. And I was up there and met with the West Virginia State Truck who was on site, and we couldn't believe the traffic and the drivers that could not read the signage. They'd be going down the road and then they're backing in the residents' driveways, which they didn't like, and I wouldn't either. Wilson Blacktop Paving Company will commence paving, weather permitting, the following roadways: Cherry Lane, North Crest Court, Shortwood Circle, and the Community Parks parking lot. Notices were sent to the residents in the affected areas, just like the notices that the councilman received in their packet this week. This work will hopefully start next Monday, September 14. Bay Tree Drive, Cedar Lane, Mount Lebanon Drive, Villages right away on Cedar Lane over into Renaissance Way. On Thursday, September 1, Councilman Hershek and I toured these areas, and because of the hard rain that we had that started at approximately 2 o'clock on Friday the 21st and continued until around noontime on Saturday the 22nd. We have not had a rainstorm as bad as this one for some time. Steve and I started a punch list for our street crew that reflected some additional maintenance. One of the things at the top of Cedar Lane that joins the backside of Bay Tree Drive, both catch basins, left and right, need cleaned out again. All catch basins on Bay Tree Drive need cleaned out again, and the grates need reinforced with asphalt where and when needed. At 29 Daisy Fields Roadway, that's part of Red Fox Estates. There's a new house there. The asphalt curb that was in there needs replaced. This was removed when the village crew installed the water and sewer taps. Plans are being made to have water diverters installed on Bay Tree Drive. Also, after doing some further homework, let's see. Let me jump around here. It's all here, it's just out of my order. Okay. We want to possibly put in some water diverters based on the location of the catch basins that are now in place. There have been 3 new catch basins installed at the top of Bay Tree Drive across from the Bay Tree playground. Hopefully this will help some of the water problems in that area. More homework is being done in that area. Also, at 95 Daisy Fields, Red Fox Estates, that's the house that's being constructed at the top of the road that's right south of Briarwood Drive. This is where Steve and I were viewing the site, and Police Officer Bill Nolan happened to stop by, who was on duty, and the 3 of us were discussing some events that took place on Friday evening, the 21st. Bill was on duty at that time, and he was telling me how there's a large storm sewer up there, and he got in there and he unclogged it a couple times. The water, this storm sewer up there is about 6 foot deep. It's the deepest one I've seen in the village, and it probably is the deepest one we have. Anyway, he got that cleared and everything. I didn't know he was up there until he showed us what he did. That's above the roadway that connects with Bay Tree Drive. As a result of what the three of us saw, we drafted the following email to the property owner at 95 Daisy Fields, which was sent on Wednesday, September 2. The email, what the email was, I'll go into some details here. After the heavy rainstorms, Friday, August 28th through Saturday, the 29th, and on-site inspection Monday and Tuesday, September 1, the following was noticed. Bales of hay, straw were added on the lower middle section of the roadway above the large storm drain. It was like a half moon, and they were put in place by the contractor and the people building the building up there, and it did help hold some of the soil and rocks from going onto the road, and they did a good job. However, when we were looking, Steve and Bill and I were looking at the area, we said that additional bales are required both left and right sides of the existing bales, maybe 10 foot each side, because what was happening, the water was coming down, doing an end around run, going around the bales, and then taking aggregate, mud and dirt out in the road down in the storm drain, which is against the guidelines. I said approximately 10 feet each side. Would recommend removing excess soil, small rocks, both sides first. Also, at the entrance to the new house, the following needed address. How about muting that, Saki? We're in a council meeting, please. At the entrance to the new house, the following needed address. Clean off the roadway of stones, rocks, and dirt. Also, replace the existing poly sheet fencing that has collapsed and put sufficient bales in its place of hay and straw. Required to hold back the storm water, dirts, and rock. We must prevent this matter going into our storm drains. Okay, I sent that email on a Wednesday. Thursday morning, I got an email back, and all these everything that I requested was complied with. In fact, I did a drive-by that afternoon up there just to confirm what I was told. We should have a better cooperation, more cooperation with people like that that are building new houses here. Under new business tonight, Aaron Roth, park manager, Kirk et al., is going to, she's been working fast and furious on putting together tonight's planning, along with Stacky, Judy Kirker, Arlene Doty, plus Dory and Jane in the office to file an application with the West Virginia Trails and Grant Program. And we'll go to that in a little bit, and I'll turn things over to her because for a little gal so height, she must be about 7 foot tall, because she's really been into the last few weeks here trying to get things to make hit a deadline. Also, under old business, Ben Gilbert, who's on vacation this week presently, prepared a letter of information regarding his homework, the purchase of a radio read billing system, as well as updating the computer billing software for council. Also, he has prepared and left with me a letter to be sent to the High County Commission. He's asked me to convey these documents to council for their consideration. That's all I have in my short report. Tom, do you have anything under solicitor's report?
Tonight we're going to have the first reading of the ordinance regarding a change to our load limits.
Okay.
And I'm going to meet with Bob Henry, who was in charge of this, tomorrow to finalize any changes that might need done. So we'll have the first reading tonight.
Okay. And as far as the police chief report, there was the last month's police report sent around in your council pack. I hope everybody got one. Okay. Next, I'm going to slip over to committee reports. Parks and Recreation will let Aaron, who's the chairman, talk in a little bit here. Anything under police, Bobby or Russ?
I have nothing.
Or Aaron?
Yeah, I know we've been talking about a new police vehicle for I've been on council for about 2 months.
Yeah, and then some.
And then some. are we pushing for grants? Have we sent letters for grants yet?
That's what I said under my report, that we need to get somebody involved that writes grants, especially for equipment like that.
Yeah,
If you have any
I think,
suggestions, let's come forth with it.
yeah, I will.
Okay.
I think we need to step on that.
Okay.
We've got winter coming up. I got to talk to Bill the other day and Russ a little bit. We've got 2 patrol vehicles. One of them goes down, we've got 1.
You got what?
We've got two patrol vehicles. If one of them with Chief Fair's
Yeah.
own vehicle that he drives, we've got 2 patrol vehicles.
Yeah,
One of them goes down. Winter's getting ready to start. Hopefully we don't have a bad winter like we
I'm
have.
very much aware of that, and that's the reason I've been working, making phone calls like every other day.
Okay.
And the cruisers that I've seen so far, high mileage and high prices as far as used go. A few more bucks and we could get a new one. Anyway, the new ones are 7 months out, and that's the reason we want to get one on order.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
also I want to get a used one.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure we
Yeah.
were still
Oh, yes.
working
Oh,
towards that.
definitely. That's,
And then I did get to talk to Bill and Russ tonight, working on getting, I know we have the 2 body cams in there, but that is something I think we really need to get done, is make sure we have videos on our guys. Yeah, I mean, just in this day and age, God forbid something happened in this village, we pull people on 470 over all the time. People from all over on 470. We've got to have something to back them up. We don't have cameras in their cars, and I know Russ was saying he was working on the body cams, but
Yep.
I think that is something we really need to push to get. We've got to protect our guys in that area. It's not even just protecting them; it's protecting the people they're pulling over. If there's something way messed up, but
Well, we have
I'd
one
love
pl-
to eventually see cameras in vehicles too.
we have one policeman that when he stops somebody, he takes a picture of their driver's license, he gets a mug shot, he takes a license plate, and there's no way they can back out and say that wasn't him.
Well,
No,
that's not my point.
Yeah,
No, I'm not saying it wasn't that. I'm saying
Well,
if something
yes, I know what
terrific
you're
happened
saying.
that one of our police officers had to step up, God forbid use force, and we've got nothing to back up saying it was right. It was, we know our police officers, we trust our police officers. We know they never use force unnecessarily. But the residents may not know that, the media doesn't know that. If something happened terrific in this village and we don't have video proof to back them up, we're on national news overnight.
Yeah. Well, I've seen a lot of that, and you have on TV, what's going on in other areas, which hopefully never hits this area.
Right, I just think we need to be one step ahead of it.
Yeah.
We gotta back them up.
Well, you know, I look at our police are well-trained and everything, and they know how to diffuse situations too. But never gets to that level. But I've seen some of them in action. They have diffused situations where, you know, people walk away with their tail between their leg, or
Right.
they're satisfied with what our policemen have told them. Yeah. Okay.
But
Well,
I-
that's
excuse me,
good.
Don, but I see what Aaron's saying. We gotta
But
look,
they could-
we gotta look to see if there's grants available for these things, because
Cameras aren't expensive, they're $100.
Well, we've got 2 of them in there, but the big deal was, they were from 2 former police officers. They didn't have the code to get into them. Russ was telling me he found the code to be able to get in one of them. We just got to program it 4-hour use. My point is, I have no doubt that our police officers can diffuse the situation and people walk away. But all it's going to take is one hot-headed person to say, well, you know what? Officer Fair shoved me, used unnecessary force, and in this day and age, it's not always the police officer that gets trusted. We can back them up all we want, but that person goes into court with all this stuff that's been going on with police recently, they're not really believing police
They're really
officers.
not that expensive. We got
Yeah,
them in
they're-
every vehicle
Right.
AEP has now.
Yeah, they're pretty cheap.
Every vehicle we own.
That would be something I'd love to see done.
Yeah. Well, let's do some homework.
Absolutely.
Do some homework.
Thank you.
Okay, roads and streets, Tommy and Steve, you have any report?
No, you covered it under the mayor's report.
I have one on roads and streets. I thought, maybe I got it wrong, that Walnut was gonna be paid. I know they did the sewer project or water project.
Yeah, they
Is that
filled in
all
water
paving that's gonna
trenches.
be done on Walnut?
Yeah, there's some bumps down there yet. I mean,
There's a lot of
the
them.
yeah, well, I know, the the street committee can look into that, but that's not,
I just thought once the project was over, I thought it was gonna be, the whole road was gonna be paved.
yeah,
not
I
just
don't
the
remember that
construction.
conversation, Bobby, but,
So maybe I misunderstood.
yeah, it's not a first, I go up and down that a lot, and, there's bumps down there still, and there's bumps from previous water breaks too that, need, patched up every once in a while too.
Okay.
So.
Those poles down the roads,
Okay, water and sewer, anything on water and sewer?
Nothing in addition to the letter that, Ben will submit later under old business for the radio reads.
For what, Tim, I'm sorry?
Nothing in addition to the letter that Ben will submit later in old business for the
Okay.
radio reads.
Okay.
Sorry, this thing.
Yeah, he's spent a lot of time on that.
If I could add one thing, Dawn. At the end of the day, we received one estimate for the billing part that Ben addressed, to make it compatible with that. We have to have utility, we have to have a program for B&O and business license and all that. The first bid came in $18,000 for the new just billing system. It has nothing to do with radio reads. So that's just a number to think about until we can get others in, but that's the average of what that's gonna run to update the office equipment, make it compatible.
Yeah, I understand you girls are getting competitive bids on the upgrading of your computers.
We're trying to, yeah.
That'll update and be comply with the water billing, you know.
We haven't,
Yep.
we haven't talked about it with our guy who has our program now. We're gonna ask him for a quote, but all these quotes we're getting are from out of town. Like, this guy's from Michigan, there's somebody from Utah, that, it's all over the internet. But we are trying to look local too. Like I said, I just wanted everybody to be aware how expensive this is gonna be right off the bat, in order to make the office compatible with billing, with the, radio reads when the time comes.
Okay, anything under zoning, Mark?
Nothing under zoning tonight.
Okay. And Ben is on vacation, so he's not here to, of course, report on things. Old business, let's move to old business now, and Aaron, I'd like you to take your mask up and get off the,
Can I?
give us your
First of all,
dissertation here.
I'd like to thank everybody for that Rusty Baldwin this past weekend to sign that resolution for me. This has been really time crunch. Every time I turn around, the next deadline is very, very close. So anyway, I gave each of you a handout just with the scope of work that we're applying for. First of all, the grant is $50,000. It's an 80-20. We have to put up 10. That's not a problem at this time. I filed the application today. Today was the deadline for the completed application. It's for 964 feet of, we're gonna fix the drainage problems first up here. So I got quotes on that, and then put the trail on top of that using crushed gravel. We're gonna keep much of it in-house as we can. Then the landscaping to make it all nice and pretty afterwards. But when you get the state grants, and I'm sure you guys have all been involved in all this before, a lot of little hoops you gotta jump through, a lot of things you gotta do. Project has to have steps of it go out to bid. You have 9 months to start your work, 24 months to complete it. We're doing this pay-as-you-go, which means when bills come in, we would have to pay them, and then the state would come and reimburse us with it. I will say, I called Jack Tush because we also had to have an engineer submit plans for this. We couldn't just submit a drawing drawn by me, because I can look out here and see what we need to do. And he came right up, took care of it overnight for me. That was all submitted. The only thing that was not taken care of, and I just, because of the COVID and nobody in the state offices is really in, is if we would have to have any kind of permission from the Department of Interior, which a grant from the Department of Interior paid for the park startup years and years and years ago. So I understand when they took the tennis courts out, they had to have permission from them to alter park. I'm not sure that applies to this situation. We're not altering anything, we are adding to. So, but I have made the phone calls for that, and nobody's in. So, I did get a call from the abandoned mine pilot project, but that's another avenue to get down sometime maybe. Other than that, if you have any questions about a little bit of information I gave you all maps to see what we're doing. call me here at the office anytime. Questions, I'll be more than happy to answer them for you. Any suggestions, let me know. Something else I want to address is, we talked today about Halloween coming up. Don't know what anybody else is doing, but we talked here in the office, the three girls, about having just drive by, we make up, get donations maybe from businesses or whatever, make up treat bags, and then whoever our volunteers are, masks, gloves, let the kids drive by with their parents in the car, not get out of the car, loop through the park, and trick or treat, you know, something to give back to the community. The kids, since they haven't been able to partake in much of anything. Just a thought, we just talked about it today, so I don't know if I need approval. Any thoughts from anybody else about
I love it.
that kind of thing? Just,
Well, you got on here as soon as possible, so, you know, if we get, if it's
Well-
okay with them,
yeah, Halloween's
you
in
know,
like
our
8 weeks,
our
6
committee
weeks.
will get going on that.
Yeah, it
We
just,
we need a vote on that?
any objections to that kind of thing? To having our committee or whoever wants, well, to have them, everything bagged up in treat bags. We're not gonna, you know, be touching anything, we'll have gloves on, we'll wear our masks. And if we can have the police officers just kind of help direct traffic, just drive down through, you know, put the windows down, like they've been doing with handing out things for any other situation around the valley.
Are you saying that's in like place of having a village-wide trick-or, like?
Yeah,
Okay,
well,
I get what you're
this
saying.
year, yes.
Right,
You know, we tried that
right.
before, and the citizens really like the door-to-door trick-or-treating.
Yeah, that's
We
what
took
I
a lot of flack for that. But this year, I don't know what we're gonna do, I don't know what anybody else is gonna do.
Yeah.
If this is an alternative the park committee is willing to undertake, as long as it's approved by council and there's no issues with anybody or bad thoughts or whatever, so. But it is, once again, time constraints.
Right.
And we do it on Halloween because Halloween is a Saturday this year, and we do it early. We would do it like 3 to 5, so it's still daylight. Everybody can get home and be safe.
I make that motion. If it's presented yet.
That'd be under new business.
What is,
Pardon me?
You'd have to wait on the new business.
Oh, it's, okay.
Okay, so motion been made and
Oh,
second.
no,
No, no, no.
you gotta wait for
We
the
gotta wait,
business.
new business. TC
said
said
we
that'll
have to
be
wait
brought
for
up
new
under new
business.
business.
Yes, yeah.
I jumped the
Before we
gun.
get too far, I still want to finish off of this park here. I want to make it, before we get carried away. Aaron has given me a file on this application and everything, but I think we need to recognize the people that came forth and made statements. Here's Mallet Law Office at August 26th wrote a nice letter endorsing this support, or adding support for this Bethlehem Walking Trail project. Dory Galaski, one of our clerks, she has also endorsed it. They go in there and say they've been residents for a long time, and it'd be too long to read the things to them, but I think it's nice that these people stepped forward and gave us the endorsement. Here's one from Kelly Kaminsky, who lives up on Chestnut Lane. Same thing, to whom who may concern. And they all back what Aaron has told you we want to do here. Here's one from Stacy Roman on Chestnut Lane. The same thing, she's lived in Bethlehem for 27 years. Bethlehem's a wonderful place to live. Our park and walking trail give us the opportunity to play and exercise, have public gatherings, walk a dog, or simply just enjoy the nature. Basically, these letters say the same thing. Here's one from Janine Varner, who lives up on Chestnut Lane. All these people can see down in the park from their back doors and everything, and they see the activity. Here's one from Jane Ann McGuire, one of our clerks, saying she's been a resident for over 20 years, and of course she works here. And also one from Janie Zambecco, she's lived here for many years, and comes down here and walks the dog in the park every day. Here's one from our Jamie Shaw, our accountant. She lives in the village here also, and supports this program. And also one from Sergeant Bill Nolan, one of our policemen, who's a resident here. And it was nice for these people to take time out and recognize this. What I sort of look at this is an upgrade of some of our infrastructure. And there's nothing wrong with our park now, but anytime you want to improve things, let's do that under new business. Yeah.
Yeah, TC said bring that.
Yeah, that's the reason I didn't know she was going to get into that, and she stole my thunder. Okay. If there be no other old business, nothing under old business, let's get into new business, and let's address these two things. One, I'd like to have a confirming motion to adopt the resolution that we all signed and we sent in to address the application that Aaron, that she submitted today. So I would like a motion to that effect.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, you got Tim and Saki.
Yeah, Aaron, who was that application addressed to and submitted to
West
exactly?
Virginia Department of Highways,
What,
alternate transportation.
can you repeat that one more time? I didn't hear you again.
West Virginia Department of Highways.
I've got a copy of it, Matt, so I can get you that.
Yeah,
It
I'll
started
just
out
copy
at one
whatever
name
you
and
need,
it,
Matthew. Alternate transportation grants.
Thank you, Aaron.
okay, is everybody aware of the motion? I'd like to have a roll call vote, Matt, on this motion, please.
Councilman Otten,
Yes.
Councilman Bishop,
Yes.
Councilman Herschel,
Yes.
Councilman Henry,
Yes.
Mayor Junkins.
Yes.
Councilman Sassine,
Yes.
Recorder Sassine, yes. Councilman Snyder,
Yes.
Councilman Wojcik,
Yes.
Okay, motion passes unanimously, thank you. And
May
I think,
add one more thing, just before we get out of the park? That's not the only grant monies that we're looking for. I'm also applying to Southwestern Energies through our contact to get money from them. I'm gonna do the same thing we just did for this grant. Got a letter written up for them, send them a map, and see how much money we can get for them to help take care of our park. There's also a couple people that, private donations to organizations, like I say.
You can mention it.
Okay, the Saints and Sinners have committed to $1,000 donation if this project goes underway.
2 to 3.
2 to 3, 2 to 3,
We're hoping for the 3.
yeah, to help with our park. So there's other ways that we're trying to get money together. You know, we gave all our money back this year. So I just want everybody to be aware that the park is working hard to make the park a better place. And all your input, all your help is greatly appreciated, and hopefully we get some money together.
yeah, thank you, Aaron, for your hard work. She's
You're welcome.
done a yeoman's job there. Okay, the next, let's bring the Halloween project up.
Point of order, and I'm sorry I didn't mention it when you were there. Should the radio read letter for the commission been under old business? I'm sorry,
No, that's all right. We'll bring it up now.
it's up to you. It doesn't matter. I
Yep.
just, should it have been under old business or can it remain under new? It doesn't matter to me.
It can remain under new.
Okay, never mind. Moving on.
Yeah, we'll bring it up on our new business. Okay, let's bring the Halloween situation up. Somebody make a motion
Yeah, I made a motion to accept it.
To-
We'll get
to
going.
do
We'll
what?
get going.
what to do, what, Zach?
Just like Aaron, we got, we have to know as soon as possible. First of all, we need residents to help us out, donations, probably all kind of donations, people to bag it. I'm sure our police will help us out.
Get a letter out as soon as possible.
Does that mean you cancel door to door?
As of right now.
Let me tell you
That
about
was-
the
that was
fiasco
my
that's gonna
question.
be.
I don't know. I don't get any people in my
Try to
house
stay there.
anyways. It don't make no difference to me. Have to-
The two things with that is, you better pack about 2,000 more bags than you think you're gonna need. Because Wheeling, Elm Grove, Tridelph, they're all gonna drive up to get their bag, which is fine if we can get that many donations.
That's the only thing that bothered me too, is it says, try to keep it to Bethlehem
Right,
residents.
but then also, if you cancel door to door, you're gonna have a lot of angry people that come down to the office, and
I don't think we need to cancel door to door, do we?
I think that should
that
be
was
optional
brought up,
to
that's why I
them.
just wanna,
I think that should be optional to the homeowners. If they're comfortable
Agreed.
with people coming up, if people are comfortable with taking their kids out, I don't think we can really tell them no. I think this should be the opt-out for them.
Well, you have to
Have our
consider,
usual door to door and make this,
Do you have an officer at the top of the Park Hill checking IDs to see if it's a Bethlehem resident? There's a lot of questions that
I
are
was gonna say that.
Trust me, we did the party for how many years? I mean, you got 500 kids up there. There's no way all of them are in Bethlehem. Well, I love having them all. It's great, but
Yeah, you had quite a following.
yeah, you gotta prep for it.
And you get all the parents and grandparents, bring
Yeah.
the kids, you know, that's a kids festival.
You gotta prep for it.
Plus, I look at the Irish 3-5, nothing against the Irish, but if that's the only thing happening in this tri-state area, it's gonna be swamp.
Yeah.
how many more meetings are we gonna have before?
2.
2 more meetings before
Yeah,
that?
you want to put this on the table and think about it, and bring it back to the next
And
meeting.
definitely bring it back next meeting.
Yeah,
It's gotta be
if you
done by
wanna
next
do that.
meeting, don't you think so,
Sure.
Aaron?
Our only other thought was, as long as we don't put the word out till like the week before, and we take it to school, which hopefully, you know, that would stay in school, just announce it in school. If we can't put flyers out, that's a whole big process. But just try to keep it, I had put Facebook, but I don't think we should do that. You know, we did talk about people on Facebook, that's too many people out there too.
Let's do that.
Just word them out, put a flyer up at the store, at the gas station, and hopefully, like a week before, maybe we'll have a pretty decent turnout, and hopefully just be mostly people that are local.
And don't put the big sign up. The big signs at the end of Ridgecrest and at the, you know, the triangle, leave them out for this year.
Absolutely,
You know, don't do that.
absolutely. This is something totally different. Tony, just like I said, we talked about it today. And I said I will address it tonight since I'm coming to the meeting and see what everybody thinks.
Don, I think we can table it till next meeting.
Yeah,
along with it,
let's,
along with it, you have to take some consideration of what you're gonna do with regard to if there is going to be door-to-door, if there's not gonna be door-to-door, but if there is gonna be, you have responsibility to set hours and to protect the residents. So, all of that needs to be considered between now
COVID trick-or-treat regulations.
and whenever you're going to take action. Because
Do we encourage families to, say you want to hand out candy, do we encourage you not to answer your door, but rather put a bowl out on a table in your front yard and let the kids come get it?
Let's see what you say.
Excuse me.
Does anybody,
That's something stuck in my throat, not COVID.
who we could reach out to ask other organizations, like what's the city of Wheeling gonna do?
Right.
Right.
yeah, that's
And
what,
if
that's
we-
what you need. Somebody needs to be appointed to head it up from the office. Somebody needs to be appointed to head it up out of the 3 girls here in the office. Find out what all the surrounding municipalities are gonna do as to the date, the hours, if or if not. So I would ask that you do it, Aaron,
Okay,
because you seem to have it under control.
okay.
Look too, Aaron, if I could suggest at the Presbyterian church, or the church by the water tower, because the in and out is so much easier there, rather than have people come down the hill and then back up the hill.
Right,
That's good.
Might be tough.
right,
At the church, it would be easy
turnaround.
in out,
right.
and we can just all line up right there.
Well,
Just throwing
my
it
only
out.
thoughts today were, we could cone it,
Right.
or cone it, and then we always have the police officers with us anyway. So
Right.
3 to 5 police officers, so you can scoot it on over.
Just let you know how I do. Sorry, Aaron.
I would anticipate you're all gonna get asked by your neighbors, people
Absolutely.
with your wards,
Yeah.
within the next week or so,
Right.
because they're gonna realize it's almost October.
Yeah.
So, you need to think about it, put all your heads together and do what's necessary.
Can I
let's do
also-
some homework first and then come back to next meeting and get our ducks in order.
Can I also request if any of you guys would rather me contact you by email, to give you an email address? I know I sent text out the last time, just let me know what you prefer, especially with the long-winded thing I'd like to get to you before the next meeting. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Aaron.
Okay, next, I put a letter that Ben wrote here, that he also drafted a letter to the county commission. Is there any, I'd like to open the floor to discussion on the meter update.
I don't have to worry.
I just have the letter from Ben.
Is there any way we could possibly,
None of us got
I
the
talked to
letter.
Ben had some ideas. Is
Yeah,
there any
he
way we
had
could
some
table that?
ideas, and we went back, and also, just as a matter of fact, City of Wheeling is a lot larger than we are. and they've done the same thing. I don't know how many thousand of meters they have, but we have, I think, I'm not sure what the total was. I think it was around 1,500. And he went back to both vendors and said, how about if we got all 1,500, it's going to take us X number of months to install those. So do as we go. Bring in so many and pay for so many, and it would make it easier on our checking account. Just looking at our July 31 financial report, we had $256,000 in the checking account, and since then, during the month of August, we ought to wait till the next meeting as far as that goes, see what it is. We've had activity in there, but we've also paid some bills out of it, and we don't want to take that down too far. So that's why we don't want to buy the whole program all at once. Buy it in increments. Yeah, Tim.
We don't have the letter that he suggests to submit to the Ohio County Commission.
Yes.
I'd be more than happy to read that for you if you want.
Yeah, if you want. Actually, there's two letters. It's the same. Well, there are two letters.
He just changes companies, right?
Yeah.
All right, you've been talking the whole time. I'll save you a little bit of work.
Okay, thank you.
Why don't we just make a copy for everybody?
We can do that too. Aaron, you want to make a copy for everyone?
Yeah, really.
Just one more.
Make one for everybody, including me, please.
He says the same thing in both letters, but it's just the money differences. The last paragraph is the only difference.
Mayor, you were talking about the $251,000. Are you talking about general fund?
Talk about what?
What fund are you talking about when you
Water
say-
fund.
It has to be water.
Yes, that's right. That's what I said. It comes out of the water fund, and we can't drain the checking account, you know, by buying it all at once. That's the reason the suggestion was made.
Yeah.
Bring in so many so many meters. It's going to take us a while to get them converted. So.
But actually, we want to get that letter out to the county commission to see if we can see what
Well, first
type
we,
of money they can possibly get.
first we got to decide which vendor we're going with. That's why these letters are identical except for the last paragraph, because the last paragraph reflects what vendor we would be doing business with because of the money.
Right.
That's the only difference.
Okay.
I'd like to ask the question. I said I'd like to ask the question.
Yeah, okay.
You know, I understand what, Ben did his homework and all, but I couldn't see why we couldn't go like within the tri-state area to get our bids. Like part of Pennsylvania, Ohio, and West Virginia, and stay local instead of going way out almost on the west coast.
Well, that's one.
Isn't there other companies within like a 200-mile radius that handles this, that actually have
They
people?
don't bid.
There's only two companies we got bids from.
Who was all requested, or was it
Yeah, well, that's
was
why,
it in the paper, or how how do we handle this?
that's why Ben wanted to stay with National Road Utility, because they're local. We do other business with them too, and they felt that the service would be, if we needed it, would be right here.
Well, I agree with that. That's why I was hoping we get
Yeah.
somebody local.
Well, that's
What I'm for.
There is a large difference in price and everything, but they both came down in their prices when we went back to them to try to negotiate. So
The only thing, Steve, I think the only thing a local company is gonna benefit is for actually fixing the water meter itself. Any of the software is all done on the cloud anyway. So whether the guy's in Wheeling or the guy's in Nebraska, he's not coming to this office to fix a computer. He's gonna do it via the cloud. It's
Yeah.
just how much distance is there between the two computers?
I understand that, but, my opinion is I'd just like to see us spend money locally, and I can't understand why somebody, other than just out in Triadelphia is the only one to bid on it and one out. in
They're the only ones to do it.
So who handles Badger then? Just a limited amount of people in the United States?
Badger locally is National Road, that's
Yeah.
it. They service Pittsburgh, they service most all of West Virginia. You might have something over toward DC, but their area is Akron, Cleveland, Pittsburgh, that huge circle. That's why that guy's got a nice house.
They make you go through the distributors with.
Well, I understand you go through the distributor. But
Like,
he's the most,
the city of Wheeling doesn't deal with National Road. They deal directly with Badger, the organization. They don't even use National Road Utility. They order direct from the manufacturer.
Because they are a volume dealer, I don't know
Yeah.
how many meters they have.
But that's what I mean. You just don't go to Pittsburgh and say, okay, I'll deal with the guy in Pittsburgh. It's either National Road or the direct dealer, or the direct company. I apologize. It's not like cars. There's not lots and sales all over the place. There's only so many companies that do this.
I think we need to get those copies and
It's
discuss our
surprising
meeting
that
with
you
Ben.
think there would be a ton of people doing it.
well, you know,
Hopefully get that letter out.
Sounds like it's going
Yeah, but we can't really send a letter to the commissioners until we decide which vendor we're going with. Because, like I say, the last paragraph is the only difference in the two letters.
That they have exclusive access to.
What was the price difference between the two? What was the price difference between the two again off the top of my head?
52,000, wasn't it?
52?
I think that's what it
Okay,
was.
Master Road, the bottom line here from his note says 209,392, and the Metro is 153,950. Well, that's a 50 grand difference.
I do it.
The difference I had from last meeting was $56,042.50.
That's too much. I got a suggestion.
To try and go locally, like, because like you said, and like Ben brought up in the last meeting, if there's a problem, everything can be handled remotely, and if there is a problem with a device, they were saying they could have a guy out here in like 2 days. But he was saying there's nothing majorly that can go wrong with these devices that we'd need someone here overnight, basically. And I don't think that's worth $56,000.
Right.
Plus, we're gonna need to have one or two extra anyway on hand, aren't we? I mean, we could have one in case there's a problem.
Well, I think Ben, I think he accounted for that.
Yeah.
Because that was something else he said in the last meeting. If something went wrong, we could throw another one on until they could get
Right,
here.
right.
Yeah, unfortunately, he's not here because he's out of town on vacation, so.
Well, is there a press for this, is this time sensitive, or can we wait till the next meeting?
You know, it's something we don't have to necessarily
Although if they,
act on tonight,
we
then I
could
would.
talk about the amounts here, maybe it will figure itself out.
The fact that he's been so detailed involved in things, I wish he was here. I would just assume maybe table this until next meeting. You have his paperwork there that he submitted.
Yeah, I think you're right. I prefer to wait, get his opinion also.
Okay, then you want to basically table it till next meeting.
Yes.
I only have one letter.
The other letter's just the exact same, but with the amount changed for the Metro price.
That last paragraph is,
What's the change, what's the amount for Metro
I
Price?
can get you a copy of that.
Just made 150.
Yeah.
The only thing with waiting, guys, is now we're gonna be end of September. We submit it, it doesn't get to the commission by the 1st of October. They don't act on it till November. Now, we're not touching it again till March, because we gotta wait for everything to thaw out.
I think it's a good time to get it up there. Before election time,
We've been talking about this for
we got
3
a little bit
months.
we got a little bit of clout going for us.
Right. That's when they want to do the favors.
Yeah.
Well, and like Ben was saying, even if we could get a quarter of the product, put them in
Thank you.
those areas where our road crew feels unsafe in the winter, all it's gonna take is one car, they're checking it on the side of Ridgecrest or Chapel.
well, it's Ridgecrest is our most hazardous area.
That-
I'll never ask that.
Yeah,
That's where they would start first.
Right, that's why I said it. And, so if we have him saying, we're really not comfortable, if we could get, because I got to talk to Ben the other day down at Mount Lebanon Park, he was getting a bid from LaRoche Tree Company, and he was telling me, he said, both companies agreed to do quarterly deals. If we could agree on a company, get the letter to the commissioner, and then get a quarter of these products in so they can start before winter on the crucial areas, I think that's what we should do.
we can always submit just submit the bigger ask. And
That's
if
what
they
I'm
give
thinking,
us
just-
less, then we revisit
Right,
where we're gonna go.
submit the bigger bid
Just
and
submit the bigger ask.
see how much they'll go, how they'll allocate us. Might be nothing.
What's the difference, TC,
What's it
on
gonna
that?
hurt? No, that's what I said, I'll
You
get
could also consider the fact that the bigger is a local company, and then if we switch, that might upset them.
We don't tell them which company we're using.
Okay.
I think all three of them are.
We're just asking for assistance. We
Yeah,
don't
I mean, I
say,
think all three of them,
Okay.
we could talk to that three. They're
What's
just
that,
like-
Stack?
Pardon me?
What's that?
I said, I think we could talk to those three, say, if we decide to go the other way. I mean, they're all three local, I think we know them all, don't we? You know them all the commissioners. I think they're great guys, I mean, I don't think they're.
Well, I
gonna-
can't rely on that.
Oh, I do.
Well, then you want to send the one for the,
I mean, like they said, there won't be a name on it.
right, if you read the letter, there's no name in the, on that.
Correct.
Send the one for 105.
Yeah.
Send the bigger number without the name.
Right.
That's what I do.
We use the lower, we don't have to use all the money.
Right.
Yeah, right. I don't think they're gonna cover the whole bid anyways.
No.
well, actually, there's, a copy of the quote in there that he intended to send that along with the respective letter.
I agree with Timmy, let's get the letter out.
Well, so we get on the county's agenda and everything, maybe we
Right,
should,
It's gonna take some time.
yeah, so maybe we should submit the one that, the National Road Utility.
Yeah.
Right.
Is that what council wants to do?
That's fine with me.
I'd submit that one.
Well, that's what I want council's input on it, so if that's what council wants to do, then we'll do that. If that's what everybody wants to go.
So somebody make a motion to put it on the floor, let's find out if that's what they want to do.
I move to submit the letter as written by Ben Gilbert, requesting financial assistance from the Ohio County Commission for $105,000 for the Badger meter radio read system.
Good motion.
I second that.
Since Stocky seconded, Matt,
So we gotta get the letter.
you got that down?
Mhm.
Yeah, okay. Okay, does everybody understand well, that way we had a motion on the table. Anybody, any question on the motion? If there be no question, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Thank you.
They can always say no.
As a point of interest, I think that when it's submitted, you could have everybody sign this.
Just,
The way he has this drafted,
yeah.
you look at the
Yeah.
second page,
Well, just like our
for everybody
resolution.
to sign, yes.
Yes, yeah.
What my suggestion is, after everybody signs it and it's submitted, that each council member be advised that it has been submitted, and that each council member call the commissioners.
Correct.
Call the commissioners yourself and tell them that you need this, every one of them.
Got that? What's Tom's saying? Everybody, once we get that submitted to them, then follow up with a social call to the commissioners, right?
Each commissioner, each of you, that's 3 phone calls from you.
Right.
Tell them that you need them.
Maybe you might include Greg
If you
Stewart
do it-
too.
Yeah, and I suggested
Yeah, there's
somebody
4
over
of 'em.
here said before, get it done now, because they're gonna pass out money, it's gonna be in October.
Yeah.
Was there any, to your recollection, was there any other money in 2020 given to us by the commission?
I didn't understand you, Mark.
What was the last amount of money they gave to us? Was it the slip over here?
Well,
it was the
last
As far
amount,
as
I
I
think,
know, it
was
was a
that slip over there.
unless there was any COVID funding that you guys received.
And that was
before.
in 18?
Yes.
So it's been 2 years plus we've received any money from the county commission. So you know that, guys.
Right.
Good point.
Now, the funding that they gave us for the slip was very substantial. It
Was
was a
hefty.
very generous gift.
Yes.
But we all need to sign this after the meeting, so.
Yeah.
That's, yeah, everybody's.
Here, I've got an original here that, don't get out the door unless you sign this, please.
I think T, don't you have something to bring up under new business?
Yeah, I
One
have-
thing?
Covenant ordinance.
Oh,
We're not there yet.
Okay, let's see. Is there any other new business that's becomes before council? I have one thing. We've got a tree over in Bay Tree Playground, and it's got to come down. And I called 3 tree people. One I didn't hear back from, and one I didn't get through to for some reason. And the person I got a quotation from was LaRoche Tree Service. And I was originally told that they wouldn't be able to give us a quotation until today. Well, I think the day that I called them, that might have like called them in the morning or something. Well, the guy came in the afternoon, and he has a quotation here, and he said at that time he could do it on Friday or Monday. That was last week. And what he has is basically a price for removal of the tree, and then the stump grinding, and he gave us a discount, but the bottom line is $14.40. And I would suggest, being that is a playground, it would behoove us to have the stump ground. In other words, the tree cutting was $13.50, $2.50 to grind the stump out and everything, and then he gave us a discount, and the bottom line would be $14.40. So what I would like is a motion from council to, so I could call them, say, tomorrow and get this underway. I don't know if you've seen it up there. There's 2 trees up there. One is sort of like a single stalk. This one's got about maybe 6 or 8 branches out, and it's dead.
And that's a very reasonable price.
Yeah.
I don't think we were gonna be.
No.
Yeah.
It's on Bay Tree.
This is on Bay Tree Playground.
Is there any other trees?
I was talking.
There's one other tree, but the other tree looks healthy. But this one, all the branches, the bark's gone, and it needs to come out.
Yeah, so there's nothing else that they could address while we're there.
Yeah, I was working on
It
this.
is on our property, correct?
It's on our property. Yeah, I was working on this, and I got a couple calls from people. I think Aaron was one of them. But anyway,
That's cutting it down, taking it with them, and taking the stump out.
removal. Yeah.
What kind of tree is it?
Big.
Dead.
Awesome. Sounds like a nice tree.
That's a
can't
good,
believe it.
that's a good
I mean,
price.
it doesn't matter.
I can't believe it.
Offer
They
to
cut down my
take some of the wood.
Can't believe it.
Yeah.
It says removal. Required that the work zone be clear of interference. We will remove the debris in an orderly and timely fashion. The discount is for doing work for the city. That's what it's explanation. Okay, I'd like to have a motion to authorize me to have that tree removed.
I'll make that motion.
Seconded.
Got that right? Okay. Any question on the motion? Be no question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Thank you. Now, is there any other new business that needs to come up before council tonight?
He's got one thing.
I have the ordinance.
Oh, yes. Sorry about that, TC.
Okay.
First reading.
We have for first reading tonight an ordinance entitled, an ordinance amending chapter 74 entitled, quote, traffic rules, end quote, and adopting a new section 74.04 entitled, quote, load limits, end quote, of the Bethlehem Code of 1976 and or the Code of Ordinances of the Village of Bethlehem, West Virginia. The new ordinance has been asked for a year ago, and every time that I was into it, something else came up for the village, and I had to put it aside and go to. But it incorporates what Bob Henry had suggested. I'm going to meet with him tomorrow to make sure that everything is there. Basically, it provides that no one can operate any motor vehicle with its load weighs in excess of the gross volume weight of 27.5 tons or 55,000 pounds on or over any of the streets, lanes, highways, roadways, and alleys of the municipality, except for such vehicles' operation as is necessary to load and unload property to go to and from the usual place of storage of such vehicle, to or from legitimate business, or other passage through the municipality. Any changes, so that I made a penalty section, provided a penalty section in it. The state routes are $100 and or 30 days. I couldn't see using a general penalty section that says not less than 10 or more than such and such. If if somebody's gonna be overweight in the village, then they have to know the penalty is gonna be steep. And $100 to these people that are over really isn't steep either. But, Bobby and I will review it, and we have a meeting tomorrow at my office, and then we'll take it back up. And everybody will have one before the next meeting to go over. You have any questions on it tonight?
I do. How would we enforce or know how much something weighs?
You're gonna have to get assistance from somebody. Well, I've looked at that specifically, the practicality of it, because one of the suggestions made was to have a increasing scale of fines. But we don't have the scales to weigh anything. So you're going to have to, my recollection is that a truck, they carry something that says what their weight is of the truck. And how you're going to make the decision that they're over and above that, I guess is just
If we have
looking
no
at the
enforce-
cargo.
If we have no enforcement, we might as well have no law.
Well, I agree with that.
So we need to figure out some enforcement before I want to vote for this.
The state will assist. I can come up with one of the other, but not every day, when available.
Okay.
So we're not gonna have, the village of Bethlehem pulling over every truck. If there's a situation, and it happened already one day when I was working up here, a semi hauling dry concrete bags was over in Hook Circle. And that's the reason for them to come up with their
Okay.
scales.
They come up with a scale for that? Okay, that's the only way we can do it.
Okay.
That or, invest your own scale.
Okay, do you want a motion to accept on first reading? Okay.
Motion to approve on first reading.
I thought we accept first reading, we approve or adopt on the second reading. Okay.
You need that motion? I'll take it.
Yeah. Okay, you made the motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, there any question on the motion? If there be no question on the motion, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you. You got your work cut out for you, Bobby. After the second reading. Okay, any other business to come before council?
Quick comment for me. I believe Aaron is correct. We need to get on this body camera situation. Check it out immediately. And another thing is addressing your Daisy Field guy. I wish you would put in an email to tell him to stop speeding down the lane with his trucks, his Bobcats, his pickup trucks. Everybody that goes to that site flies down that lane at 7
In other
o'clock
words,
in
you're
the
saying
morning.
they come in from Briarwood and not.
Doesn't matter which way they come in. Every way they come in and leave, they're going at least 30 mile an hour. Every day, every single day. It's almost to the point where I'm going to do something about it.
Okay, Rusty.
And you're gonna wish you did.
Wait a minute, Rusty's here during the day. You hear what he's saying? I want you to be over there.
They will pull trailers with big equipment on them down that lane. And I know because that speed bump's right there. And I watch it. It's at least 30 miles an hour. If you please give me a copy of your email that you addressed that with him.
Are you talking from Briarwood?
Talking about the owner of the 2 houses that are being built on Daisy Field.
There's only one right now.
There's 2 being built. There's a
two being
foundation
done.
and on
One's
one.
in process.
and
okay.
one's being
Yeah,
framed.
Okay, I know where you mean. It's okay. You got your point across.
Well, I'm just
Okay.
saying, I've been complaining about this speeding on Wolf Estates forever.
Okay.
It's
You're-
terrible, Don.
Okay, you hear that, Rusty? Rusty, he's on day turn, so he'll take
Well, if
care
I
of
don't say something, 20 people that yak in my ear don't think I'm doing my job, okay? That's all, that's why I'm saying something. I also want to ask if there's any other councilman here that noticed speeding on the lanes.
I'll jump in with Mark. I usually drive that back way onto Briarwood if I need to go over to Briarwood. And there are 2 entrances to Red Fox, Daisy Fields, from Bay Tree. There's a stop sign going onto Bay Tree, but when the two entrances connect on Daisy Fields, there's no yield signs, there's no stop signs. Is there something we need to put there? Or could we be, if there was an accident from the two people merging into the one lane, could we be held accountable because there's no stop sign, because there's no yield sign?
That's a possibility.
Have
I
we officially
think-
taken over the road yet?
Was that?
Have we officially taken over the road yet?
I-
We have?
Yeah, so if because I drive it, you have to, if you don't know that there's another road merging into the road, you don't think to stop. I know there is, so I slow down. But I've come across multiple people who speed into that merge, and I've got to whip out of the way. Because there's no yield sign, there's no stop sign, there's no sign saying this is a merging lane. I think something needs to be done along those effects. And post a speed limit, now that they're building new houses there.
Yeah, but we haven't changed the speed limits, the 15 mile an hour on our side roads and everything. And if they're exceeding 15, they're exceeding the limit then.
Well, I was posted 15, isn't it? Yeah, so it's ridiculous.
Come on and live up on Ridgecrest Chapel Road. Right, Bobby?
I bring it up enough.
It's not just us, it's everywhere. People speed everywhere. I just don't prefer it when I got a neighbor with two little kids 10 feet from where it's happening.
Well,
Lake Flat and West 18.
I know that was previous Councilman Rail's big issue over on Mount Lebanon. He wanted to get those 2 speed bumps in, and he did, and I commend him for it. But the people in our area, it's all over the place, but Mount Lebanon's got a lot of kids, and we've got just people that just do not care.
I don't, I have the same thing I see on Orchard.
That's what I'm saying. It's all over. It's the entire village. It's not one area.
Yeah. Well, maybe we need to start reviewing where we have signs and things like that. This be a good area to start. But no, of course, they're always speeding when there's nobody around. And, we have one policeman on a shift and everything, and they can't be everywhere, but people have to, I always say that maybe it doesn't sound right or good. If you're in a big hurry, leave for your appointment or leave home 15 minutes early, and then you don't have to heavy foot on the gas pedal.
Not only the signs, but I think the lights make a huge difference. I remember going down to, off of 86 in the Glendale. When you see that doggone light blinking, there's a good possibility that
And
cops.
the only thing is residents will lose their mind because they're gonna say they're trying to lay in bed and there's a blinking light in their window all day.
Yeah,
That's gonna be the other half of that. I don't disagree with it, but that's what you're gonna hear. If you put blinking lights on Wolf Estates, the residents who are near the light are gonna flip.
I don't know, people are creatures of habit. They just, if they're in a hurry to go somewhere, they'll run you over to get where they want to go fast. How many times have you had somebody pass you and you pull both up to the stop sign or the traffic light at the same time, and you look over at the guy and he flew by and you both get there at the same time? I don't know. Well, this is something we'll look into. Okay, Mark?
I would appreciate that.
That's no problem. Okay, did I miss anything? Any other new
I
business?
got one, I had a complaint, not in my ward, but on Maple. And, Councilman Alton's gonna check into it tomorrow, but there's, somebody replaced some, telephone poles and left the old ones there, and the neighbors are worried. Some of them are tied off, and they're worried about them falling. Just whoever replaced them, if they could come back and get the old ones. I'm gonna say it's
Where is this, Bobby?
on Maple.
Maple.
It's like maybe 4 or 6 telephone poles that were replaced, and some are leaning, so the rope is leaning with it, pulling the
And
new
this
one.
is on Maple Lane? Okay, well, tell you can tell them just to call the office and give the girls a message, and it ends up on my desk, and then I'll take it, but
Well, if Tommy could talk to the guys, he could probably find something I'll get you.
Yeah, I'll
on.
go over and look at it, Dawn.
I mean,
Tell you what happens there, a lot of times, they either Bell sets poles or we'll set poles, and Bell and Comcast don't get off the poles, they don't transfer their facilities off the poles, so we transfer ours and we come down halfway, whatever it is, and we cut it off usually, and we have to leave it for them to transfer. Now, I don't know what's over there without me going
I've
to look
never
at it,
seen it,
Bob.
so I can't answer that.
And some of them's ours and some of them's actually Verizon poles, so, but they are bad about coming back and getting their stuff. That's just a rule of thumb. I know that they don't do it very often. They don't have enough guys that do it. Years ago, we used to transfer it for them, and then it's kind of a touchy subject, because you're kind of putting them out of work, sort of. You know, they appreciated it, but they didn't appreciate it, so they told us not to do it no more. So what we do is we transfer ours, and we try to make it safe until they get there. But sometimes they go a long period of time without coming back and getting them, but
Well, you gotta wait so a lot of times for Frontier plus Comcast before they make the switch after you pull a new pole in.
yeah.
I've
You know, I
seen
mean,
some that-
it's like that a lot of places, and I don't know until I go over there what's going on, but I will go look at it tomorrow, that's not a problem.
Okay.
Hey Don, when LaRoche comes over to cut down that tree, can you have him take a look at Westgate, the entrance to Westgate, and see if they could give us a bid to slice all those overhanging trees that are,
Well, when Ben gets back, we're gonna rent a unit that they had before, and that's one of the.
it'll never get high enough. It'll never get high enough.
Okay, okay. I don't know what trees you're talking about, but we're gonna be cleaning the roadway going up Westgate. We call it
Give me,
States Road.
give me a call, we'll take a walk.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, is there any other new business to come before council tonight? We covered everything, hopefully. Okay, if we have no more new business, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Meeting adjourned. Don't forget to come sign
Sign
this.
tape. You want us to use one pen on